Moving on to the mandible, recall that the mandible is the lower jaw. And these features, first off, we start with the body, which is going to be just this main component. The alveolar margin or border is the same thing as what we saw on the maxilla, where this is where the teeth are actually sitting in. Now the rami is plural because there is two sides to the mandible. Ramus is singular. This is the portion going upwards after the angle. And then the angle of the mandible, you can actually feel in yourself. It's the point at the back of your jaw. This is where the body changes direction and starts going upwards, which is the ramus. Now on top of the ramus on each side, we have two processes. The coronoid process is going to be the front one, and it's going to look sharper. The condyloid process is posterior, and it has another structure called the mandibular condyle, which is the smooth, rounded process that sits on top of the condyloid process. There are also two foramen found on the mandible. The mental foramen are on each side of your chin, and the anatomical term for your chin is actually mental protuberance. And then the mandibular foramen are on the posterior side. So as we take a look here, here's the body, just this main portion. The alveolar border or portion right here is just where the teeth are sitting in. Mental protuberance is going to be your chin. Mental foramen are just the holes on either side of the chin. Here's the angle of the mandible. Now the ramus is just this portion right here. So notice it's going upwards. And it has 2 points on it. As the coronoid process, which is the front one, and you see it's much sharper. Now posteriorly here, we have the condyloid process, and the bump at the end is actually called the mandibular condyle. Posteriorly here, we see the mandibular foramen right here, the hole. And that concludes chapter 14.